Hey, hi everybody, it's Nettie Kaye back at the studio. Today we're going to add a little painting of a teacup down here on our still life. I just felt like it needed something. It just seemed a little bit out of balance. Now balance doesn't mean you split things down the middle, but what I'm looking for is something that we've got this big heavy thing here and something in the middle, and this is just too empty. So I'm going to add a little teacup, and this is my little Royal Albert turquoise teacup. I think it'll be nice and light, so it'll make for a nice kind of a balancing thing in our painting without being the focus. All right, so let's get to it. This is going to be so fun because if you learn how to do this, you can make little teacup paintings for your friends and give them away. It's really fun. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to decide where the top of the cup is. We'll maybe make it right here. And then I'll squint my eyes. Now if I close one eye, it's a different depth than if I have both eyes open. And then I'm going to make sure that I get this depth of the ellipse this way. And then I'll come right about a little bit above the middle line and make a line across to see how far the cup is going to go. And then I'll aim it, let's see, I gotta stop talking here. I'll aim it like this so that it just has a little bit of a shape like this. And I just keep kind of carving it a little bit because you can't get it right the first time. And then I'll just kind of make this, I'll fill this in with the white so I know that this is the top of the cup. And one more time, I think it's a little too high. So this is where you use your little rag. You just take your rag and you go, okay, well, I want that ellipse just a little bit smaller, and I can form it out with my little rag. And I think at this stage, so that you can see it a little bit, I'll put a little teal with a little bit of white, and now I'm going to come in like this. Now I'm not going to do all the little flourishes on this particular cup. This cup kind of goes, that takes a little extra effort. And then I'll take this and I'll move it down a little bit, like that. It's going to look pretty small in comparison to these gargantuan oranges. These are the biggest oranges I've seen in a long time. A little bit lower than eye level so that I can make sure this makes sense. And this has got kind of a little bit of a vase-like look at the bottom. Let's see if we can get this. This is going to be a challenge. All right, now I close one eye and I try to figure out where that saucer, where the saucer is going to come out, and I'll start it right about in here. Again, it's going to be different for you than it is for me, so hopefully it won't be too different. And then I can see that the lip of the saucer comes up right about, let's see, right about at the bottom of the cup, because I see the bottom of the saucer as well, like underneath it as it comes up. But this is the next ellipse right there. And then I'm going to carve that in for the teacup part, and then it comes out like this, and then kind of ends up like that. Okay, and then I'll grab a little bit of white, and I'll figure out where a little bit of that handle goes like this. Just a little bit like that. Okay. Now I have light. I'm going to have to guess a little bit on the light because we have different lighting conditions than what I had before. And so I'm going to have to work that out just a little bit. Here's our dark. I think I'll make it a little bit darker teal than what it really is. Might as well give it a little color. And so I know we had the light coming in from my right side, and so I'm going to put the lighter part of the cup right here as it curves in. And then the darker part of the cup on the other side, right here. Now it doesn't really look real when you just make it with one color, like the turquoise color. It doesn't look very real. But now also I must make note that the bottom of the saucer is white. I gotta set this down before my arms fall off. As far as the shadow color, add the purple to the turquoise, like that. I think I'm actually going to bring this cup down there. Okay, there we go. Kind of looks like that. And then I'll double check my measurement here. No laughing if it's crooked because I'm off to the side. You guys know that. Actually, I'm going to bring the lip up on this cup and do it in a little bit of my purple and turquoise combination right there. Like that. This part over here is going to be in shadow again over here. So I'm going to really kind of emphasize that, overemphasize that a little bit right there. And there's a little shadow that comes out from the bottom of the cup where the light can't hit, okay? And then some of it the light can hit, so I will make sure that I don't lose that. Here's hoping this works. Hey, you know what? The painting is dry underneath. So if it doesn't work, that's all right, because you can just, you know, take a rag and wipe it off. All right, now I'm going to give this a little bit of a shadow right here. A little shadow. My little Weedy Vinci kids do this particular shadow like this. The next issue is going to be trying to make it look as though it belongs to the painting. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And I'm going to take some yellow ochre and white. And now we're going to come in here and put a little bit of daylight right here. This is going to look a little weird, but I'm going to put the yellow and white together over here where I think the light is going to hit. Sometimes I have to think about the color of the light more than the color of the object itself. And so I like that to be a little bit of a warmer light. I'll put some warm light right here where I think it's going to hit in the white zone. And I know this is all kind of in a, it's going to be in a little bit of shadow, but it's in a white tone. Got to figure this out. That's going to be an interesting issue. So I'm going to grab now some teal and purple with a little bit of yellow. All right, a little more purple. And I'm going to make this into teal, purple, and yellow in the shadow as the saucer kind of calms down and turns away from the light. I think I'll use that same color for right here. Kind of a nondescript shadow color. So sometimes I use the violet, sometimes I'll warm it up a little bit. It's a little bit crazy, I know. All right, let's put in some of our shadow color again. In this side, whoops, that's too green. So let's put it in a little bit more purple. Purple shadow, like that. Then it comes together with the light. And it goes like this. Okay, and then I kind of go back and forth between the light and the dark, and it creates the middle tone in the cup. Now, a little bit of, a little more teal and white over here. I think it needs a little bit of reflective light as it comes back a little bit, so I'm going to put a little reflective light, not really right on the edge, but as it kind of hits back again. All right, now, let's put in some highlights then. See, my yellow color will now allow me to put in a little bit of a highlight color right there so that it looks like there's some nice light shining. And so I've got a little more white here, and I'll make it a little more white right here, just in the same spot. And then on top of that, I'm going to add some, you see where we put the highlight, when we put the highlight over here, can you see that? Yeah, I'm going to put it in the same general area that we put on the other stuff because it has to make sense on the painting. So now I'm going to put this one right here, and we'll put it on the edge of that little part. Now, if I want a gold rim around the edge, what do I see? I put this raw sienna. And what I've done is I've got a flat brush, but it's really, really squeezed tight to an edge. And you can actually do your edges better than, oops, I say that and then mess up, than with a liner brush. Okay, you don't want to use a liner brush on this sort of. I'm making this dark so that I have something to get the light off with. Okay, so I'm going to use that up here. We're going to start with something dark. Get that rounded. This is, again, raw sienna. great color. I don't need sparkly paint. I use it in acrylic class. All right, we use sparkly paint because it's just fun and the kids like it. But I don't use the you know, glittery paint for this type of effect. You should be able to get it with just some of your regular color. Okay, so on the edge of the gold now, I'm going to now take some yellow ochre with white, and I will put the little bit of the highlight with the yellow ochre right there. Okay, yellow ochre and white. So it's raw sienna, yellow ochre, and you can see how that begins to shine like gold. If I do a necklace, I will start it in a dark purple, go to raw sienna, and then add yellow ochre and white. It's pretty cool. Now there's a little bit of a gold part on the handle, so I'm going to also come up like this and put in the dark part around the edge, and then a little bit of, this is still raw sienna, everybody. I'm going to go like that, and then I will put again the yellow ochre and white, lots of white, and I'm going to put a shine right there, maybe a little bit right there. Okay, maybe a little bit there too. Okay. Isn't this fun? And now I want to get a nice highlight on the side here. Let's just see. What if I put, let's test it out with a little bit of a, just a little bit of white with a teeny tiny bit of yellow ochre. That's kind of nice looking, isn't it? Yeah, I like it. And then again right here, just if it might possibly hit that little reflective light back on the other side. And just a tiny bit of reflective light as it goes. So now I'm going to go in and tighten it up a little bit. Oops, I've got a little turquoise out here. It always helps to have a little bit of the background color mixed up, and so I've got a little bit of purple with teal mixed up that sort of matches the background, and that way I can kind of either come in with a Q-tip or I can correct it by putting the background in. You don't want to do that too much because, you know, it starts looking like everything's got a halo. Okay, at this point I'm going to take a really close look at it and kind of make sure that everything is straight and doesn't look like it's all wonky, which it probably is. So hang tight, I'll be right back. If I have some adjustments that need to be made, I can put a little bit of medium onto a towel here. And now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to just use it like a bit of an eraser. And so I'm going to come back in and make sure that the plate is in the right shape there, and take out the accidental brush strokes that I put here. And so I'm just erasing around the outside. We do this in our We Da Vinci class again. I'll have the kids do a drawing underneath on their painting, and I have them do it in watercolor pencil. And that way they can use a Q-tip or a little wet rag, and they can actually make the corrections without using the big, you know, icky, ugly eraser on their canvas. It just doesn't quite work as well as just using a little medium or a little thinner on your paper towel, and you can kind of adjust everything like this. If this feels too deep, I can just wipe that right off. Look at that. See? I can fix it. I can fix anything that way. All right, now I've got a tiny bit of a shadow right here, and I think now I'm going to come in here with my darker shadow color one more time. Put a little more darker shadow. I can't see it, so I need to adjust that and put this in. And then I'm going to really, you know, cut things down a little bit. And this time I'm going to place the shadow or the parting line shadow underneath the cup. You see that? We need a light color in the background, and I'm going to put that behind the cup so that the cup shows up. So now I'm adjusting the background a little bit. Put a little bit more, let's see, purple, I think. A little purple. There, now you can see it. That's a little important. Anytime that you need to be able to see something, you have to adjust the tonal value. So say this is the dark side of the cup, the background has to be light behind it if I want you to see it. Now I might want that to just disappear, I don't know. The same thing right here. This is a dark shadow right there. I'm going to add a little bit of white, purple, and see if I can get that to go. And then I correct that by putting that right like this. That's the dark side of the little saucer. And then we'll put, let's see, this is going to be also dark, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just lighten that up and correct the shape with the outside. So I'm painting around the cup and I'm making those adjustments. I can see this ellipse is really whacked, so I'm going to now adjust this one by lowering the kind of the point where it turns, making sure I get that correct. That stands out pretty well. Now we have a light area of the handle that needs to be seen a little bit, so now I'm going to darken that area with a little bit of purple mixed with teal, and let's darken it up a little bit. I might add a little bit of a warm color to it. Let's add a tiny bit of that purple, teal, and yellow or raw sienna, and it just makes a weird gray. It's almost too much the color of the cup, so now I'm going to adjust it by adding some more purple and teal, making it darker so that I can see that handle. And the key is to try to make it look like it belongs there. All right, you don't want to just have big choppy, okay, light against dark, light, dark against light. It has to look like it actually belongs there. So now I'm going to add the darker color. Let's get really dark, purple. Dark color on the light color of the cup, the light side of the cup there. Okay, and I'll go back in and paint that white handle on there. It'll be really neat. All right. See how I kind of ease that in a little bit so it looks natural. There's just kind of a natural thing going on. If I want this to kind of look a little more flowing, I'm going to add a little bit of yellow and white as it comes up there, and maybe a little yellow and white. This is yellow, ochre, and white as the light shines through like this, just to set the cup off and make it just look like it's really glowy. Well, that was really kind of fun. I'm just kind of working in a few different elements onto this painting. I'll finish it up, and then in maybe 1 or 2 episodes from now, I'll show you how it ended up. Meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and share with your friends. And I thank you again so much for watching. We'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.